To the FBI, I know you have better things to do. I am not going to kill my son yet. Hey everybody, welcome again to Q2Q at OSP. I am joined today by Wendy Waddell. Wendy, how are you?
I'm great. Solomon, how are you?
I'm doing as good as quarantining can be. How are you
Yes.
holding up?
We're doing all right. We're actually probably in really good shape compared to some other people out there. Both my husband and I have jobs where we're still getting paid, we're still working. We have a very healthy but energetic 9-year-old daughter who the biggest challenge is she misses her friends and she misses school, but we're all healthy and we're doing well. So I can't complain.
Well, I'm glad to hear that everyone's healthy, but we wouldn't be artists if we're not complaining. So I'm gonna ask you to start complaining for the hell of it. Jesus,
Okay.
you have a nine. So you said you have a 9-year-old, and how old is your other one?
I just have one. I have
Oh,
one.
see, I just have one too, and
Yeah.
he's 5. And yesterday, I contemplated sort of like homicide, I think it's called, but like not really, because I wouldn't do well in prison.
Right.
Um, but have you got? And again, to the FBI, I know you have better things to do. I am not going to kill my son yet.
Yeah.
What do you do with your kid in this COVID-19 quarantine world of ours?
What I try to do when we're in actual school time is I know there are a handful of programs she's been doing online with school already. So I'll say, we'll do 20 minutes on this program and then 20 minutes on this program and half hour doing this. And then I've tried to find some of these websites that are out there that are offering educational videos or interactive type games and things for the kids to play. So I'm trying to mine through those and find things for her. We're trying to um, keep our options open with for different things to do. But I've been in your shoes. I've contemplated, I have a big backyard. There might be a place to hide a body. I'm just saying.
I guess one of the good things is I've literally become a kid again, and we're playing dinosaurs. And since my artistic juices aren't flowing right now because I can't be on stage, I guess I could get to be on stage with my kid. Is that happening in the Waddell household?
Yes and no. I mean, I think I'm trying to introduce her to some of my favorite movies. I'm trying to find stuff that's age appropriate for her, but like we've watched some stuff that I've talked to her about. And it's been kind of fun exploring those films again with her, which is fun. One of the things I'm thinking about doing, because I was supposed to be doing Into the Woods at OB, we would have opened and closed by now within this time of being shelter in place. So I have the original Broadway cast DVD. So I'm thinking about maybe throwing that on and showing it to her, because the hope is that we are going to come back and do the show once this is all lifted. So maybe fall.
Is your significant other an artist as well?
Nope.
Do you, as an artist, when you see that your child is not following in the footsteps, does that kind of like rub you the wrong way and be like, come on, kid?
I love the fact that she appreciates art. I think that it's great to birth a whole generation of audience goers, because let's face it, when our current crop of subscribers and donors have gone on their merry way, we need that next generation that's going to love and appreciate the live arts, so that it can continue to prosper and grow.
A question that's going to pop up right there is her being 9. What movies are you introducing her to?
Well, we watched E.T. not too long ago, which is one of my all-time favorites. We're starting to go through some of the older Disney movies, things like Bambi, Fox and the Hound, Pinocchio, some of the older ones that she hasn't necessarily seen yet. I remember watching movies that I probably shouldn't have when I was her age, like Jaws. I don't know that I feel comfortable introducing my kid to Jaws, especially with summer coming up, and maybe we'll have the opportunity to go back to the beach sometime soon. I don't know that this is such a great idea.
One of the things that you might want to show her Jaws for is, didn't the mayor of that city reopen the beach too quickly?
Too
So if your
soon.
kid has any questions,
August? For Christ's sake, tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business.
We're living it. We are living Jaws right now, basically.
Exactly. And
It's just
we
not
don't
a
want to get
shark.
political, but why not? I had to throw that in there. It's because when we're recording this, there were some protests over the weekend about reopening California, or actually the entire nation, which,
Right.
as my personal opinion, is just full of
No,
lunacy.
I'm
And
with you. I actually, my day job, I work for a nonprofit that supports law enforcement. So I know that uh, the law enforcement was attempting to do their job this weekend by keeping the protesters out of as much of harm's way as possible, and keeping those who were attempting to uh, adhere to social distancing. It was a tightrope that they walked, and I know that some of our law enforcement officials took some heat for it this last weekend, that they didn't make arrests or fine people. And quite honestly, we still do have the right to assemble, and we do have the right to protest. And even though I don't agree with what these people were protesting, I do agree with their right to do it. So, not to get political, but there you go.
no, you know what? Let's put out some groundwork here, because we've only met a couple times. Please complain and please get political. It's fine. Let's talk openly about what we're feeling, what's happening, because um, it's just you kind of need that venting a little bit right now.
I agree. I agree. And these are unprecedented times. I think one of the things I was trying to explain to my daughter was nobody in any generation that has existed within the last 100+ years has experienced something like this. We have never seen the entire world basically shut down on this type of scale. When we had 9/11, we saw the airspace basically shut down. There was the flu of, I think it was 1917, where we had um, where the idea was kind of the social distancing of its time. But we've never seen everything all at once be affected in this manner, where we don't have kids going to school, we're not going grocery shopping, we're not traveling to work, we're not traveling cross country or across the globe, we're not doing much of anything. And so it's a completely unprecedented time. And I understand, even though I am very much about stay at home, do what needs to be done to keep this curve as flattened as possible, I understand those who are rebelling against it. I don't agree with them, but I get it.
I worked close to 7 years in a hospital as an autopsy tech at
Ooh.
UCSD. Yeah, so
Ooh.
that's a little bit history on me, and I saw firsthand how hard and how dedicated all these nurses and doctors and healthcare professionals are when there isn't a pandemic. And there's a picture that came out yesterday of a protester in a car, I believe it was in Colorado, in Denver, and a nurse standing in front of the vehicle,
Yes.
just basically protesting in their own
Protesters,
way.
yeah.
But let's not talk. Let's not just live in this island of COVID-19. Let's live in the island of theater, but
Okay.
in the world of COVID-19, because that's something that I like to talk to about artists, reviewers, critics, and playwrights and directors that we're going to be interviewing about after COVID-19. When we just discuss about theater, what are your thoughts if you make an entrance one night and you see a kind of an audience full of face masks, or maybe you have to wear a face mask yourself while performing? What are your thoughts of kind of where the theater landscape is in the future?
It frightens me to go back too soon. Obviously, I think that's the big thing, is that I don't want to see us, because even though we are all aching to get back on stage or to create our art, whatever medium that is, we're aching for it, and we feel it so deeply in our bones. I don't want to go too soon. And trust me, the premature closing of, or never opening of, Into the Woods broke me to my core, because this is a role I have waited my entire life to play. So the fact that we shut down 2 days before we were supposed to open crumbled me. With that said, as much as I want to play this role, I want to do it in the healthiest environment possible. I've been doing this last weekend, I've been working with some people over at New Village Arts doing recorded version of The Tempest. It's a bunch of women that were assembled with under AJ Knox's direction up at New Village Arts. And so we've been filming the scenes from The Tempest, and that's been really fun to be able to act again, even though I'm basically sitting and it's just from here up, you're not seeing a whole lot. But it's been fun to speak that language again and to inhabit a character on this smaller scale for this limited period of time. It's been a little bit of a rejuvenation for my soul. I don't know of any theater that is really right now going gung ho, going, well, we'll do this masks and all if we have to. So I don't really know. What are your thoughts?
Third episode of Q2Q actually opened up my eyes a little bit. So it was a conversation with Pat Launer, the
Oh,
theater critic,
yeah,
and she said something that kind of made me think about it a little bit more. Theater is everything to me. Yes, my day job pays the bills, but theater kind of rejuvenates my soul.
I get it.
Because I work in marketing and I have no soul because I work in marketing. You can't have one. So, in order to change, she mentioned something, maybe we need to look into outdoor theater a little bit more. La Jolla Playhouse has the WOW Festival, which is a almost exclusive outdoor venues, and NVA has an amazing little street in Carlsbad. Maybe
Right.
we can introduce more events where people are moving from space to space, where they don't have to be confined and breathing the same air, and
Right.
and still having those socially distant guidelines being adhered to. I know OSP is on Third Avenue in Chula Vista, so that is also a cool little street where you can actually get some of the community involved. So that's something that I think going forward, if we want to have if we want to have theater back in our lives, we can't be stubborn and say, well, it
Sure.
has to go back the way it was.
Right.
It's just not. It's not plausible anymore. This is a new world. This is a microscopic killer that doesn't really care how old you are or if you're a musical actor or
Right.
anything. If you've been a subscriber and it doesn't matter. It just wants to replicate, and I think we need to change as artists and hopefully start writing better shit. uh that's my second thing. Hopefully this ignites, as a playwright, this is igniting creative juices in me, where hopefully these bigger theaters and smaller theaters don't go back to their play it safe type of play, and really says, hey, let's start building again, because, and not produce a play that has been produced thousands upon thousands of times because it'll be a money grab. That is my soapbox. But yeah, I could talk about where we're going forward, but let's chat about you a little bit more. This again isn't about me, even though it should be.
I don't know how interesting I am, but thank you. Okay.
So now you mentioned Sondheim. So let me throw that out there a little bit more about me. I am not a musical theater actor.
Okay.
I think I can sing. I've been told I can't. I can I cannot dance to, and you can ask any choreographer that's ever worked with me. I have 4 left feet.
Yeah, I'm not a
So
dancer. I'm not a dancer at all. Let's just make that perfectly clear. I'm a mover.
you're a mover. I
There you
am not. I am a waddler.
go. Okay.
To
I
say the
probably
least.
am
I
really
walk
that
like a
too.
penguin too, so it fits
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But now let's chat about actor to actor.
Okay.
So let's say I'm gonna give you a hypothetical situation. If you were given, you said the role in Into the Woods was something you've been dying to play. So let's
Right.
put that role versus a just a regular, what we call a straight play role. So you have one that's a musical, one that's not. They're running. They're conflicted. So they're running at the same time. What do you choose?
I would take Into the Woods over the straight play because I know I'm aging out of the role rapidly. And that's something that I'm a middle-aged woman in this industry, and I have no problem with that. I don't have an issue with my age. I don't have an issue with getting older. I know some of my contemporaries do. I don't, but I also recognize that there's a limitation to some of the things that I can and can't do. Um, and it's one of those shows that I've auditioned for before and hadn't gotten. So getting the role in this, it's like, okay, I would do this over the straight play. It's a roundabout answer to your question, but there you go.
It's roundabout. So complaining, roundabout answers, and
And
getting political.
politics.
Let's do it all right now, Wendy. You know what?
Done.
Hell, I'm in my office. No, yes, and actually,
Hitting
I'm in
all
a
the bullet points. Yeah.
right.
Yes.
So, and this is something that I'm glad you mentioned because I'm gonna sound like one of these old actors, but some of these young actors do not continue to hone in their craft. Should actors in general continue to take lessons even though they have established themselves as a good or even great regional actor? What's your thoughts?
Yes, I agree. I should probably start adhering to that myself. I need to take some acting, some coaching with my acting as well. Part of it is, and I see this a lot, is that there are a lot. I mean, the talent pool in San Diego is unparalleled. I think we are one of the most untapped resources in theater in this country, truth be told. Um, with that said, I think there are some actors out there that kind of recycle a performance over and over again, depending upon the show. They might just do a slightly different bent on it. And I think when you do work a lot, you do get comfortable and you tend to go to all of your bag of tricks and do the same things over and over again. I know I've been guilty of it before. I've had directors tell me that before. I've had directors say, I saw you do that in X, Y, and Z show 2 years ago. Find something else or make a different choice or whatever. And it's like, thank you for calling me out on my shit. I need that. You talked about the Without Walls festival. I had the good fortune of doing 3 of them with the car plays, which was like the coolest acting experience I've ever had. I did 3 car plays, 3 totally different car plays. So the first one I had to play a dog with Judy Bowerline. We played 2 dogs locked in a car. The second one, I played a mom dropping her daughter off for her first day of college. And then the third one, I played a cop investigating a car where a murder had supposedly taken place. So you could not get more varied than these 3 shows. What was so great and exhausting about the car plays is it takes you back to acting 101. I would tell actors when I did it the second and third time, I was like, this is going to put you through your paces. This is going to take you back to your most basic acting 101 skills, because it's not about being showy. It's not about being big. It's not overthinking. It is being in the moment. It is telling the story cleanly. It is going back and doing that all over again for your next group of actors. You can't fake it with each group that comes into your car. You have to tell that story cleanly and honestly every single time for those 5 times in that hour. It is the hardest thing I have ever done, and I did it 3 times. And there are days I go, I don't know why I agreed to do it 3 times, but then of course I remember how much I really, really loved it at the end.
What would you, if you could go back to a younger Wendy Waddell and say, hey, Wendy, shut up and listen, this is what you need to do, what would you tell her?
Be patient. And persevere. Those are the 2 big ones. Be patient and persevere, because I auditioned for Sean Murray for close to 14 years. Like every year I would audition for something for him. And I never got cast until the very first musical I ever did professionally, which was Company. Don't stop going on an audition just because somebody doesn't cast you that first, second, third, fourth time. You never know where you are landing in their brain. And I did get very frustrated early on that it's not happening like that. Why isn't it happening like that? Well, because I needed to gain some traction and I needed to fine tune my audition technique, who I was as an actor. Recognize where your strengths are. I'm known, I think I'm probably known in town for being a very funny actor. I'm very good with comedy. I'm also, you talk about being larger than life. I was never one that was afraid to overly emote or to be the loudest voice in the room or what have you. So those were some of my strengths. But then and then on the flip side of that is, don't look at what you aren't as strong in as necessarily weaknesses. I have found that in the last few years, some of the best performances I've had have been the quieter ones. When I did Edith Frank in Diary of Anne Frank at Moxie a couple of years ago, it was a very not showy role, and was one of the most satisfying because I felt I was telling a very important story, obviously, but I was really proud of myself for not going to those my bag of tricks of trying to be bigger than what the role called for. The last show I was legitimately on stage for was Carrie at Onstage Playhouse when I played Margaret White. Margaret White is not a shrinking violet, role. She is a larger than life, scary, crazy lunatic. But I like the fact that I have had the opportunity in my career to play that spectrum. And another piece of advice I would say falling into that is audition for stuff that you wouldn't necessarily, that somebody might not necessarily see you in. And I have taken some risks in auditioning for things that maybe if somebody were just looking at my headshot or somebody had seen me in a particular show playing a certain role, wouldn't think of me for a role. And I've gotten some work as a result of that. So it's, yeah, I think those are my big pieces of advice.
One of the things that you mentioned a couple of times is the A word, which is auditioning. And
Yes.
it's the thing that I think, for me personally, and I know I've spoken with some more actors about this, I'm a terrible auditioner.
I'm not great either. So yeah, I'm not a great auditioner.
I've heard more actors tell me, "Oh, I'm horrible." I don't understand how we're getting work, but we are somehow. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something that I would tell a younger me is don't take. And you mentioned a name in Sean at Signet that I too have auditioned and haven't had the honor of working with them yet for him and for
Keep
Robbie. But
going, keep going,
no, I
keep
know.
going.
I
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
It's I know why though. I've had horrible auditions for them. I can tell that because I wasn't prepared. There
Right.
was one audition where I think I went in knowing because I wanted to, and this is something that as you progress in your career for the younger actors, if you start being an EMC or trying to get into the union, you kind of cut the line at open calls. So I heard that the line for non-equity actors was huge. Me being an EMC, I was like, I'm gonna go right now. Hadn't
Right.
prepared, hadn't done anything. I was like, I just pulled out 2 monologues, and I was horrible.
Yeah.
Worst
Yeah.
audition ever. So, question to you. It's a toughie. Think back. Give me the worst or one of the worst audition stories you've ever had in your career.
I don't know if this is the worst, but it was a dumb. Yeah, maybe this might be the worst. Sean Murray. When they did the show Motherfucker with a Hat a few years ago, I had read the script and fell crazy in love with it. So for my monologue choice, I decided to do a Shakespeare monologue because I thought I want to show that I can handle poetry. Well, it's not the same, I mean, it showed that I could handle Shakespeare, but it didn't show Sean Murray or anybody at Signet that I had the chops to handle kind of a modern day flow of dialogue. So I was not even on the radar for it.
To everyone out there, and I apologize, Wendy, if I upset you, but here it is, kids.
Yeah.
Never do a Shakespeare monologue for an audition. Woman, what were you thinking?
I wasn't. Clearly, I wasn't thinking. And that just shows you like being ill prepared. I didn't take the time to try to find something in that vein of the play. And I could have. If I had done some due diligence, I totally could have, but I didn't. I personally am of the mindset that we should get rid of the monologue as an audition base. I've never really understood how that shows my talent other than I've managed to memorize. Okay, great, I can memorize. And I have really mastered this one tiny little speck of a character in out of the context of the play. To me, I think all auditions should be readings from the script.
I'm going to insert angelic music that is going to take and maybe I can do some effects with lights and strobing so people with epilepsy
Yeah.
leave the room because this is what we need. This is coming from 2 actors talking to casting directors or direct. Yes, stop it. I would much rather do some sides. Let me show you the character that we want to see on stage.
You want to see, yeah,
Exactly. Because Signet people they missed Wendy's great acting because she chose to do Shakespeare.
Stupid, because she was stupid. Yes, absolutely.
This interview's been packed full of information and goodies for all you youngins.
Yeah,
so this is what, pay attention and write down notes.
Pay attention to the old people, yeah. Well, I'm pointing to me, not you.
No, I'm gonna be 40 this year, so.
Oh, yay, welcome.
There you go.
I've warmed it up for you for a few years, so you're welcome, yeah.
But one of the most amazing things that I recently did, thankfully, because, hey, it's who you know. So I was invited to be an audition reader at La Jolla Playhouse by my dear friend Jacole Kitchen. And that literally opened my eyes to so many mistakes I had been doing. If you ever get a chance to be an audition reader, we all want to be. You have.
I was a reader at the Playhouse when they did Peter and the Starcatcher. A million years ago, I got to be a reader for that, and it was the exact same kind of revelation. It was like, holy shit, that's what I do, or oh my god, I would never do that, or what was this guy thinking, or wow, that was brilliant and brave and totally nuts, and maybe I need to tap into a little bit of that. It's the coolest thing, right? It's like one of the best acting classes you can take is being a reader at an audition. I totally agree.
Yes, because you're there for 2 hours, not even. I was there for literally 5 hours or something with a casting director, and I was given different reads. You're literally auditioning 5 hours for that casting director. So. Right.
It was so eye-opening to see what people were bringing to the table or not bringing to the table. And could you not tell who was prepared and who wasn't? Like, it's so obvious, right?
I would say 99.99% of the people that came in to read were if they were one thing, they were prepared. I did see a number of them not make any choices that I would remember them by if I was casting the show.
You're right. I always go in more than prepared when I'm auditioning for something like the Playhouse, and I should treat every audition that way. I think that's another good piece of advice for all of our young and just veteran actors out there. Don't treat any one audition as more precious than another.
So wrapping up, I decided to do this little questionnaire at the end of this thing so we get to know you, even though we already chat for 40 minutes.
I know.
I'm going to ask you some 10 quick fire questions called 10 to Places. First one's easy. Give us your full name.
Wendy Rebecca Waddell.
Nice. Name quickly favorite play, movie, or book. Choose one.
Favorite book, To Kill a Mockingbird. I named my daughter Harper after Harper Lee.
Oh, well, then that's too easy. Give me your favorite movie.
E.T.
E.T.'s your favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time is E.T.
Do you cry when... Spoiler. Do you cry when E.T. dies? Does he die? Wait, does he die?
He comes back to life. But yes, he does technically flatline. And then he comes back to life because he's E.T.
I just remember he turns gray. Right? That kills me.
Because he's dying, yes. No, it's you know what it is? It's my first movie memory. I was 8 when that movie came out. I was about the same age as Elliot. I was a child of divorce. I was Elliot in a lot of ways. And so it spoke to me on such a personal level. And it's my first memory of movie music.
Are you cool with crying in front of your kid?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because I just saw Onward, and again, spoiler alert, Onward from Pixar. I'm literally just, los mocos were just trailing down my shirt. And I turned to my kid, and he looks at me like, what is happening? I'm like, shut up, child. Let me have my moment.
Look away, look away, look away. Yeah.
Number 3, and this is the question of questions. Apparently, everyone's been questioning why I keep asking this, but it's very important to me. Wendy, do you accept pineapple on pizza?
No.
Wow. Jeez,
no.
I'm such a fan of pineapple on pizza. What?
No. Oh, no.
So as a child, number 4, as a child, what did you want to do or what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an actor. For about 10 minutes, I thought about being an FBI agent. Don't ask me why. I don't know where that came from, but I thought this would be cool. And then I realized how much work went into it, and I went, I'm better being an actor.
Yeah. There's no work in acting.
There's so much more as an actor.
Yeah, there is no work in acting right now. Number, I think 5, because I skipped 4, so we'll go back. On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you?
I would say I'm about an 8.
Good, all right, 8, that's all right. Number 6, have you ever Googled yourself?
Yes.
God, everyone's saying yes to that one. I might have to change that one. We're all just egomaniacs.
Oh, totally, completely.
All right,
Usually
so if
try to
this,
find a review, but yes, I have
all
Googled
right,
this.
yes, that's what we all say. Oh, it's a review. It's for work. Yes, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
All right, where are we? Number 7. So if this quarantine lasts longer than planned, what 2 items, don't give me people, what 2 items do you have to have with you in this quarantine?
Oreos and wine. Used to be a real red fan. I've kind of moved a little more towards white in my old
Oh,
age.
so Chardonnay.
A Chardonnay or a Pinot Grigio. I do like
Oh,
a good
okay.
Pinot
Oh,
Grigio.
yes, 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 of course.
And
And
they pair nicely with Oreos like during the summer because the Oreo gets a little melty with the heat, and then the white, crispy, refreshing. I still have
so my next question might totally ruin our relationship forever because I am this type of animal that likes a specific Oreo. I dislike the regular Oreos, but love golden Oreos. Are you on team golden Oreo?
no, no. I do like red velvet. I can do a red velvet Oreo, and I
Okay,
can do
all right.
the
In the
chocolate covered
middle,
one.
we'll
Yeah,
red velvet it. It's
yeah.
fine. We're good.
Okay.
Number 8, choose a superpower if you had one.
The ability to be invisible.
All right. At least you didn't choose flight like all of the other ones did.
Oh, I want to eavesdrop. You kidding me? I want to know what people really think of me.
2 more to go. Number 9, nudity on stage. What are your thoughts on it in a quick fire little answer? Go.
I've done it. It is what it is.
Final question. At this exact moment in
Yes.
this quarantine world of ours, what, in one word, what are you feeling?
Lonely. I
Well,
miss my
hopefully.
fellow I miss my fellow artists. I mean, oh, here's my daughter. She just wandered into the room. This is my hard
Hello,
work.
daughter.
Let me finish up here, okay? Um, I have a husband and daughter, obviously, so I'm very, very blessed in that way. I miss my fellow artists.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us. It was a really, really cool conversation to see this. You've had an amazing career that has spanned many different theaters here in San Diego, and hopefully, we will see you at On Stage in the near future.
I'm excited about the upcoming show. So yeah, in
I know James
January.
is going to be mad that I didn't mention it, but James talks enough about his own theater. This is all about you, and
Thank you.
hopefully we'll get to see you on that very intimate, very, very, very nice space in Chula Vista soon. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Anything that you'd like to plug? What are you? You said you're doing some virtual theater right now. What?
Doing The Tempest for New Village Arts. Hopefully that's going to be rolling out, I think, in about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Keep your eye on OB Playhouse. Hopefully we're going to be doing Into the Woods as soon as this lifts and we can get back out there. And then after that, admissions at Onstage Playhouse in January. That's about it. So
Cool.
I think
And
I
then don't miss Wendy in 2022, apparently doing the show Hair, because she can sing and be naked at the same time.
Yeah.
Wendy Waddell, thank you again so much for joining us. I'll let you have the last word. Say goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.